Hello, and welcome back to Historical Hidden Gems. I hope you're ready to dive into another incredible tale from the annals of history, because today's story is one you won't forget anytime soon. Did you know that one seemingly ordinary chess game almost prevented an all-out war? Yes, you heard me right. Chess, the game of kings, once had real-life, world-changing stakes. Today, we'll travel back to 1962, to the height of the Cold War, where a chessboard became the battlefield for peace, and a single match would decide whether tensions simmered down or boiled over. Intrigued yet? Then let's get into it. At the heart of this story is an intriguing character named Bobby Fischer. Even if you're not a chess enthusiast, there's a good chance you've heard the name. Fischer was a young chess prodigy from Brooklyn, New York. Born in 1943, by the time he reached his teenage years, Bobby was already competing and winning against the world's best players. Fischer wasn't just a chess player, he was a phenomenon. Highly intelligent, incredibly confident, and, well, a little bit eccentric. Now, rewind to the global scene in 1962. This was smack dab in the middle of the Cold War, a time when the United States and the Soviet Union were vying for dominance in almost every conceivable field. Politics, space exploration, sports, and yes, even chess. The Soviet Union had dominated the chess world for decades, seeing it as a showcase for communist intellectual superiority. No non-Soviet player had managed to break through their ranks for years. Chess wasn't just a game for the Soviets, it was a point of national pride. In this climate of extreme tension, Fischer found himself face to face with one of the Soviet Union's most powerful chess players, Mikhail Tal. Nicknamed the Magician from Riga for his daring, unorthodox playing style, Tal was a former world chess champion. The stakes could not have been higher. Imagine the pressure. The young, brash American prodigy taking on one of the Soviet Union's chess legends, while the shadow of potential nuclear conflict loomed overhead. Chess, for these two men, wasn't just about pawns, bishops, and queens. It was about ideology, reputation, and the will to win. The match was set to take place in Curacao, a Caribbean island with a tropical, pleasant atmosphere that many hoped would keep tensions relatively low. But the stakes couldn't have been more monumental. Fischer and Tal shook hands, and the match began. For hours, they battled it out over the chessboard. Each move was a calculated risk, a deliberate choice, a demonstration of strategy under fire. The competitive energy was palpable, not just for Fischer and Tal, but for their respective countries watching from afar. Any mistake, any slip-up could tilt the balance of power, not just in chess, but in wider geopolitics. The room was silent, save for the occasional sound of a chess clock being hit, as the two competitors dove deeper and deeper into battle. Fischer was known for his ability to think countless moves ahead, and Tal was renowned for his unpredictably aggressive tactics. It was a clash of styles, as much as a clash of nations. Onlookers, including journalists, diplomats, and chess fans, huddled together as they watched the game unfold. By the time the match reached its final moments, it was clear that Fischer was playing one of the best games of his life. He pulled off a brilliant endgame move, one that had even Tal pausing for a moment in astonishment. With a few final moves, Fischer clinched a historic victory over Tal. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Bobby Fischer, representing the United States, had taken down one of the Soviet Union's top players. And though it was just a chess match, in the larger context of the Cold War, this win carried significant weight. Now, here's the kicker. The aftermath of this game had ripple effects far beyond the chessboard. Both leaders from the US and the Soviet Union acknowledged the symbolic nature of the match. Fischer's victory wasn't framed in terms of humiliation for the Soviets. Instead, it opened a door for dialogue. Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev and US President John F. Kennedy used the narrative of the chess match as an example of intellectual competition triumphing over actual conflict. The loss didn't lead to embarrassment, but rather softened the Soviet stance slightly. Conversations soon began about reducing some of the heightening tensions, especially concerning nuclear weapon negotiations, all because of a chess match. But let's zoom in back to Fischer for a moment, because his story is as compelling as the match itself. Bobby Fischer went on to solidify his position as one of the greatest chess players who ever lived. Just 10 years after his victory over Tao, Fischer would go on to win the World Chess Championship in Reykjavik, Iceland, defeating Boris Spassky, another Soviet chess titan. That match, widely regarded as the most famous chess game in history, was dubbed the match of the century. Interestingly, Fischer's genius came with its difficulties. He was notoriously reclusive, distrustful, and often outspoken in controversial ways. But for that one moment back in 1962, he was the symbol of youthful brilliance and hope. A young man who not only bested his opponent, but perhaps prevented a disaster on a geopolitical level. Now, as we reflect on this fascinating story, one thing becomes clear. History is full of moments where the unlikeliest things, like a chess match, become turning points. It reminds us that peace can emerge in the most surprising ways and through the most unexpected events. Who would have thought that a game often thought of as quiet and purely intellectual could have such profound consequences? That's the beauty of history. It's layered, nuanced, and endlessly surprising. So the next time you see a chessboard, remember this story. Remember how a young Bobby Fischer, guided by his genius and a love for the game, managed to do what many thought impossible during one of the tensest periods in world history. And remember how one chess match in 1962 didn't just crown a victor, but nudged humanity ever so slightly toward peace. And there you have it, the chess match that changed history. If you enjoyed this episode of Historical Hidden Gems, make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more stories that are just as mind-blowing. Until next time, keep exploring the past. Who knows what other hidden gems are waiting to be uncovered?